Good afternoon. My name is John McCormick. I'm your mayor. We're here today for the kickoff of a 4-mile walk through Woodbridge Township with a whole host of town hall employees and community leaders as we kick off the Walkability Woodbridge project. I'd like to first introduce Councilman Greg Ficarra, who is the chairman of the Mayor's Wellness Campaign. And Greg is this driving force, one of the driving forces behind today's event and behind this week's event, where we have a whole lot of things happening in terms of determining the walkability of Woodbridge Township. So let me start with Councilman Greg Ficarra and ask him to say a few words about the grant and how we're here.
Okay. Kim, why don't you come up and join? Kim, we're really partners. Actually, Kim is the head of this. The program is called Pioneering Healthy Communities, PHC. Kim and the folks at the YMCA applied for this marvelous grant, collaborative effort between the Y and the community, and we were fortunate enough to get it. That brought a team of people together that Kim will introduce. We'll introduce together. We met in Washington, D.C. to get a clear understanding of the program, and that's where we met Mark Fenton, who you will meet in a little bit. But the bottom line is we're evaluating our community to check on the availability of being able to walk places is the bottom line. Not always to have to jump into your car or to take mass transit, which there's nothing wrong with that, but to get out, to be healthy, and to walk to destinations. We've been out and about since this morning, since yesterday evening, right, Kim? Mm-hmm. This morning we were out on a school bus all around the town, and you're going to get an opportunity to see Mark. He's a fabulous guy, and he's really here to help us. Kim, tell us a little bit, because you really spearheaded the project.
A little bit more about Pioneering Healthier Communities. Our trip to Washington, we met with a lot of national leaders, people from the Senate, people from the CDC, people like Mark Fenton, experts in walkability and livability. So we kind of brainstormed down in Washington on areas that we wanted to work on, obviously walkability being one of them, and that's what brings us here today. On our team, people that we took to Washington, we have Linda Mazzella from Raritan Bay Medical Center. We have representatives from the school, Lois Rotella and Elaine Sinkowitz. We have Carol Ehrlich on the team, obviously Greg Ficarra. Who am I missing? Shirley Genty from the Municipal Alliance is on the team. Who else am I missing, guys? Anyone? Huh? Bill Levitt's also on the team. The CEO.
The State Mayor's Wellness.
Judy Doyle is here from the State Mayor's Wellness. We've got also just a host of other people here. But that being said, I will turn it over to Mark to kind of preface this walk. So Mark Fenton.
Let's introduce Mark.
Mark Fenton.
No one knows who he is.
Mark, you're probably, oh boy, I don't want to get this wrong. Mark Fenton is a former Olympic trial race walker. That being said, that's not the speed that we're walking at today. But we are, he's also extremely knowledgeable. He's an expert in walkability and also an active community and a livable community. Mark, I'm probably missing a lot about you, but that's...
Just add that he's an engineer by trade.
Engineer by trade,
yes. He's got 2 degrees from MIT in engineering, and he designs roads. That's part of his career. So the walkability issue fits right into his background as a road designer. So.
Very good. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, here he is.
Count on the mayor to get the story right. Thank you, Kim. So here's what I'm going to do, you guys. I'm going to ask you all to introduce yourselves in a minute, just for my edification. I want to get a sense of the mix here. So I'm going to ask you to do is just say your name and what organization you come from. But before that, let me give you a 2 or 3 minute preamble on what we're going to do. In many communities where we do these workshops, we convene interdisciplinary groups from everything from planning and engineering departments to schools to health, wellness, fitness promoters. And you might say, well, what does a traffic engineer and a fitness promoter have to do with it? In fact, there's that nexus that the mayor was just alluding to. My background is in engineering by training, but as avocation, I was a competitive athlete. I tried out for a couple of Olympic teams. I used to work at the U.S. Olympic Training Center. I worked at Reebok for a bunch of years in their bioengineering lab. I worked for a fitness magazine called Walking Magazine. But one of the things we did when I worked there was name America's most walkable communities. Why? Because all the research tells us you can tell people to exercise, it's good for them, and scold them to get out there and urge them to get out there and give them t-shirts and water bottles, which we do all the time in health promotions, right? You can do that all you want, but in the end, if you don't create environments where it's easy, safe, and inviting to do that, you're fighting an uphill battle, and you won't get the bulk of the population to be active. So we'll look around this beautiful Merrill Park right here, and you see people out jogging and a woman rollerblading. She's on her 9th circuit just in the time since we've been here. She's getting a great workout. She's highly motivated. She's an exerciser. She represents somewhere between 20 and 25% of the U.S. population. looks like about 3/4 of the U.S. population doesn't get that kind of routine physical activity through consciously going out for exercise. So the question is, are we okay with that? And the shorter answer is no. When you look at public health data that says we have many people will call an obesity epidemic, but what I call an inactivity and poor nutrition epidemic. And in fact, that's the way I think we should all be talking about that. You'll hear that more from me later. So the question you ought to ask is, well, okay, smarty pants, is there any research, is there any evidence, you're a scientist by training, you're going to use the rigor of academic approach, is there any evidence that says we know how to build places where people will be inclined to be more physically active? And the short answer is yes. The long answer is encompassed in the pieces of paper you all have. Those are walkability checklists. There are many devices like this available on the internet, from very technical ones that I could give somebody from a Department of Public Works that would talk about things like lane width and curb radius and presence or lack of sidewalk, kind of detailed engineering stuff. There are also very rudimentary tools like this. This really was designed for a parent and a kid walking to school to fill out as they did their walk to school. So you guys have celebrated walk to school in this town, walk to school day. You should be handing these. These should be going in the backpacks the week before, home to the kids, and you should be telling parents, on your walk to school, answer these questions, and then turn them in. And then maybe the 6th graders or the high school seniors, as part of a science or a math project, could collate the data, and we can answer those questions, because they get at basically the 4 broad elements that define more active places, particularly places where people get routine. That is, I get the activity as part of my daily life, not exercise activity, but routine activity. So, what are the 4 things?